gonna soothe.
It's part of the Federalist Creed. Please welcome Shiloh Engel, attorney. Okay, very talkative tonight. All right, so we have an outstanding show lineup. It's been said that Rory Gould, who's the founder and CEO of Arborside Compassion, located in Ann Arbor, is going to be joining us tonight. He's been a cannabis activist for over 35 years and started a dispensary on his own in 2011, and he's going to join us. And, of course, this is all in anticipation of this weekend's Cannabis Cup in Clio, I guess, this weekend.
Yep.
And Rory, of course, has been very involved with that, and he's created an annual grow seminar starting off usually in the weekends of Hash Bash, and has hosted many of the speakers who are well-renowned in this field of expertise. Kyle Cushman, Ed Rosenthal, Kenneth K. Morrow, DJ Short, and Mike Boughton. And additionally, joining him is, in that category but not mentioned here, but we'll mention him, is the Danny Danko, who is a photographer, senior cultivator editor at High Times Magazine, was born in Russia and has been selected as the High Time annual top 10 strains for the year since 2005, and is also the creator and founder of the High Times Seed Bank Hall of Fame. He's going to be joining us to talk about some of his journeys as well.
He has a brand new book.
Okay. We'll talk about that. Oh, which is the... what is it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Danny will be here to talk all about his book.
He'll talk all about his book.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the official High Times Field Guide to Marijuana Strands? Maybe. Anyways, we will hear all about that, and we're excited to have him and bring some up to date. Was he on your guys' show, the Cabbage?
Danny Danko was not on our Jazz Cabbage Cafe show, but we were actually at an event last night with Danny and with Sean Black and some of the other High Times folks, and what a professional crew. Very nice. Good people.
Yeah, it would be unbelievable and
Excellent.
It would be unbelievable.
All right, so expected arrival within a little while. We're going to take a quick break and maybe come back and...
Quick break? Jeez.
Rant? I don't know. Should we get into some kind of...
No, I think maybe we should take another break.
Just for a moment or two, just to regroup and
set
off into the... what?
It's not like we started at like 24 minutes past the hour or anything. You know.
All right, never mind. Let's take a break.
We can take a break. Let's take a break. To hell with it.
We'll take one quick break, and then we'll come right back.
All right.
I got a song going right here.
All right. You're listening to Planet Green Trees.
It's got to be over here. Is this off?
I took a little risk. Send lawyers, guns, and money. Dad, get me out of this. Ha! I'm the innocent bystander. in a hard place, and I'm down on my luck. Yes, I'm down on my luck. Well, I'm down on my luck. I'm hiding in Honduras. I'm a desperate man. Send lawyers, guns, and money. The shit has hit the fan. Guns and money. Send lawyers, guns and money. Send lawyers, guns and money. Guns and money. Oh! Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That? All right. Already, we are back, and thanks for staying with us. Joseph Planet Green Cheese, episode number 398.
Almost 400.
Don't call it a comeback. Don't come around here no more.
Don't come around here no more.
And I'm going to rant for a minute here and maybe generate some conversation. If not, Rick's going to rock it in the news in a little bit as he's heating up the computer. But I'm going to throw out there the query of many people may be wondering, maybe you're not, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. Why and what is going on in the court system now that there's been such this unequivocal momentum in a direction of recognizing that cannabis is not the dangerous plant that it had been made to be, right? I mean, you see polls, you see rubber chicken grafts, you see what's the number of states now that have granted some kind of medical. And now we've got a neighboring country that has legalized, the entire country has legalized adult recreation, and it's going to lead the banking system. Some in the United States has not gotten together yet regarding cannabis. But the question is, like, what the courts obviously need to be aware of these things. There's been substantive changes in the law over the last 10 years that have suggested that the courts would be interpreting and dealing with these matters differently. But I'm here to report to you that nothing has changed. And in fact, status quo is what is being thrived on. And whatever recognitions and advanced thinking have taken place, as usual, you can count on the court not to be in line with that. Archaic would be an understatement. Brutal and broken would be a better way to describe a person's experience through that. I know this firsthand because I see it every single day. But I want to say, despite that, and knowing that, in my mind at least, that it's all going to be over relatively soon, we have been proffering some of these arguments we're going to throw out there for conversation and topic. And as I do so, I want to dedicate this rant to my dear friend Alan Peisner, who...
Where the hell is Alan,
you don't want to show
by the
him.
way? Where is he?
It's okay. Oh. So number one is that as we've known and heard for many, many, many years, and you hear this in the case law, that smell of marijuana is probable cause to get a search warrant and go into your house. And after the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act passed, you'd think that that would be something that would have ended, because the state is authorizing individuals not just to grow marijuana, but clearly in the process of a patient's medical use of marijuana, which has been deemed a personal right in Michigan, that contained within the definition of medical use is the production of the smell of marijuana, and it's a state-authorized ability to do so. But nonetheless, we still live in a state of affairs where that argument falls on deaf ears. And that for some reason, which I try to articulate, the smell of marijuana is justification for a search warrant or to go into someone's house and leap over the Fourth Amendment. Smell alone. Now, how could that be? Well, there's really no answer, but I could give you the justification that I've been given the court system and to make the point that it still remains this way. But it is the idea that cannabis is a Schedule I drug. It's dangerous. It's contraband per se. Now, 1971, the John Sinclair case said that cannabis is not dangerous. It's less dangerous than alcohol. And should be treated any differently, only because at that time marijuana was punished as a misdemeanor for possession instead of a felony like other Schedule I drugs. In that reason only, the prohibitions in what later became the Controlled Substance Act of the Public Health Code of Michigan was not found to be unconstitutional. Now, nothing has changed since that case was issued, 1971. Marijuana is not dangerous, despite its scheduling as a number one. And despite that, we've seen the opposite of interpretation. We've seen the opposite of federalist interpretation. We've seen judicial activism at its very worst by people that proclaim to be federalists, and probably progressives and whatever other theories of whatever it is that the judge would pretend to subscribe to judicial philosophy. Nevertheless, smell still remains probable cause of cars and homes. If I told you the number of search warrants that I have analyzed and destroyed paper and ink, wasted at times, begging and pleading for this concept to be no longer accepted as a reality, over and over and over again. Presence of smell by an officer that knows what it smells like, that is cannabis, without a distinction of burnt, freshly cut, or not fresh, or growing. It all falls on deaf ears. The arguments that are made, resoundingly coming out of this People versus Brown case, is that, well, the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act did not legalize medical marijuana, created a class of individuals that are protected from what would otherwise be illegal behavior. And that has been that's been the answer. So that's an argument that seems to be falling on deaf ears, but it's still, we're in a new phase of things, and I think the argument that I'm about to make would also apply to the argument I'm moving on from, which is that marijuana can no longer really be considered a controlled substance. And because it can no longer be considered a controlled substance, it clearly can no longer be considered dangerous. Smell alone can no longer be justification for probable cause. And I hear you, Judge, tell me to sit down and shut up, that the class of people that this Medical Marijuana Act proclaims to protect is a small class, and that's why, and stop trying to do more and extend more of a protection, because it's very limited protection. It is not the MMA did not encompass the public health code and wrap it in a blanket. Instead, it's a pimple on the ass of some beast. Pimple size. The beast is the public health code. Nothing. Doesn't do anything. Small class of people. But then what happens in 2017? What happens in 2017? 16. Goes into effect 2017. The MMFLA is passed. And the class of people that are now protected for what was otherwise illegal behavior extends to, one could say, people with money, people who are applying for licenses, people that are working for people that are applying for licenses, people that have bank accounts, people that are going to be employed by people who are creating entities and getting lawyers to without engaging in business transactions. The state of Michigan itself is collecting tax dollars. They are taking regulatory fees for the selling of this dangerous controlled substance, not in pharmacies, not approved by a manufacturing pharmaceutical company, not going through the FDA standards of getting approval for the public to ingest a controlled substance that finds itself on a list somewhere. They came up with a regulatory scheme, so did the state, that allows pretty much anyone, not a limited class of people, but anyone that fits a criteria of citizen without a record, a person who could own a gun, same thing.